in the terminal voltage of an alternator. Now we'll see about the zero lagging power factor with a pure inductive. So just consider pure inductive load connected to an alternating having a zero lagging. That is a extreme condition. That means a pure inductive. So there is no addition of resistive or capacitive. So it's a pure inductive. So it will produce a zero lagging power factor. That means the 90-degree lag between the current and the voltage. Okay. So here I am indicating the IA phase is nothing but a current and E phase is nothing but a induced EMF due to the main flux. Okay, the phi A is the armature flux. If you notice here, the phi flux is here and E phase will be 90-degree as mentioned earlier. The main flux will be 90-degree phase angle between the induced EMF. You see here, especially in the armature current. So the current and voltage will always 90-degree phase shift. So if it is a lagging, the current will lag the induced EMF by 90-degree. So as I told earlier, the current direction and the flux direction will be same because this is the cause for the armature flux. So the armature flux also 90-degree lags here. That is the direction of armature flux. But if you notice here, this is the direction of main flux and this is the direction of armature flux. So if you notice, both the flux are opposing each other. So you can see the figure here. So the green is shown here, the flux, that means the main field flux, and the pi A is nothing but a armature flux. So both are opposing each other. So the resultant flux will be reduced. So because resultant flux equal to pi F minus pi A. So the resultant will be, this is resultant flux will be pi F minus pi A. So the resultant flux is decreasing here. When the resultant flux is decreasing, there is a less flux, so that the induced EMF also reduces here. So here the effect is the armature tries to cancel the main flux, so that the effect of an armature reaction is here is called demagnetizing effect. Okay, previous case pure resistive load, it is a cross magnetizing. In this case pure inductive case, it is a completely demagnetizing effect. Now you can see with the what happened at the armature conductor. So the armature conductor cross is nothing but the current flowing in towards the armature conductor. Dot here, dot is nothing but a current coming out from the conductor. So this is pure inductive 90-degree lag, so that the armature and the main flux opposing each other. So if you see here, there is a shift in the north pole. So 90-degree north pole shift. So here the north pole, this is the south pole, this is the south pole. So as you know that this is the direction of flux, so that is will be indicated in the clockwise direction. Similarly, the direction will be anti-clockwise direction. So if you notice, the north pole, the current will, that means the flux will be flow to north pole. So the current flow direction here. So here there is a south pole, so the current will come to the south, the flux will be come to the south pole. Here also the current will come to the flux will be come to the south pole. If you notice here, the direction in here, the armature flux towards upward, whereas the pole flux, that means main flux, opposite. Here also it is downwards, this is upwards. Here if you notice here, this is upwards, this is downwards. Here it is upwards, this is downwards. So completely it is opposing. So that is why I have shown here the resultant flux will be reduced here. Now you consider zero lagging power factor with a pure capacitive load. So that is nothing but a leading power factor. Okay, so here it mistakenly mentioned lagging, it's a leading power factor. Okay, now you see the flux direction. The main flux direction as shown in the same direction. The current, this is the induced EMF E phase, that is 90-degree lags in the with the main flux. So as you know that the pure capacitive, the current and the voltage 90-degree lags, but current leads the induced EMF. So that means the current here is flowing towards this direction. So the flux is also in the same direction. This is flux, that is armature flux, this is armature current. Okay, so the armature flux and the armature current shown in the same direction. If you notice here, the both armature flux and the main flux are in the same direction or same phases. So you can see here the figure. This is the green one is nothing but a main field, and this dotted line is the armature flux, the resultant. So if you notice here, both the armature flux and the main flux are in the same direction, and you can notice here it starts at the same time, ends at the same time. That means both are in the same phase. So the resultant flux will be aiding each other, that means adding each other. So the resultant flux pi R equal to pi A plus pi F. So both are aiding each other. So the resultant will be, there is an increase in the terminal voltage because both the flux aiding each other, so that the resultant flux will be much more, so that it increases the terminal voltage. Now you can see this is an armature conductor, this is a cross, this is a dot. Okay, so the cross is nothing but a inward direction, the dot is nothing but a outward direction. So the flux direction for the cross will be clockwise direction, and the flux direction for this one will be anti-clockwise. So as it is a pure inductive, there is a shift in the south pole and the north pole, so 90 degree. So that if you can notice here, the north pole gives the flux, that means the flux direction will be from north to south, and if you see here, this is from this. So if you notice here, both the direction are in the same, and if you notice here, both the direction are same. Here if you see, this is also same direction. So the resultant flux for the flux produced by the armature and the flux produced by the rotating magnetic, that is the rotor, so both are aiding each other. So the conclusion will be, for unity power factor, the waveform get distorted because the neutral axis shifts there, so that there is a distortion between this distortion due to the flux interaction. But in case of, so we call it as distortion, we can call it as also cross magnetizing. In case of zero lagging power factor, it's a pure inductive, right? So that as an effect, I said it is like opposing each other. So there the main flux is opposed by the armature flux, so there is a demagnetizing, that means the reduction of the flux. And the next case, if